All right, good morning. So I don't think you can actually see me, I'm not sure, but it's 4:20 a.m. and I just packed up and I'm ready to get moving. So gonna go summit the highest peak in the Rockies. Pretty excited, but yeah, it's literally 4:20 and yeah, ready to get moving. I'm not sure if I think it's maybe almost 3 miles still to get to the top, at least 2.5, and I think it's close to 30,000 feet of elevation gain, like 2,700, 2,800. So hopefully I can get there before sunrise. I think sunrise is like maybe 5:45. Um, so I have less than an hour and a half to get up there, but I'm gonna get moving now. All right, so it's 5 a.m. now. I'm on my way up. It's actually really windy now. I'm walking straight into the wind, so it's kind of brutal because, as you can imagine, it's pretty cold up here at 5 a.m., almost at the highest peak in the Rockies. So, yeah. Anyway, I passed my friends, Pale Ale, Sprouts, and they were with their friend Stumblebee, who I just met. I passed them as they were packing up. That was only 5 or 10 minutes after I got moving. I didn't realize I camped so close to them, but yeah, past them, and I told them I'd see them on the peak, that I'd probably hang out up on the peak for a bit, but I think when I get up there, it's going to be really cold. So unless I'm willing to take my sleeping bag out, I doubt I'm going to stay on the peak for that long. So maybe I'll see them down the other side, but yeah, who knows. Anyway, I'm moving fast, just trying to race the sunrise, try and get to the peak before the sun gets up. The sunrise views are already starting to get really amazing. Still at least half an hour until the sun actually rises, but it's looking pretty incredible already. I don't know how well I can pick it up on the camera, and I think I can see Leadville actually, which is pretty much I think the closest real town to here, and I'm planning to head to Leadville after I summit this peak, so pretty sure I can see Leadville. Let me show you. Alright, it's pretty hard to see on the camera, but I think you can see some lights down there. That's maybe Leadville. Could be wrong. Alright, so I made it. I'm on the highest peak in the Rocky Mountains, Mount Elbert. This is crazy. So I made it up here just after sunrise. Didn't quite beat the sunrise, but I was coming up like basically the east side, so I could see the sunrise anyway. So I don't think I really missed out, but yeah, on the peak. And you know, the crazy thing is I'm the only one up here. I don't know how common it is to be on the highest peak in the Rocky Mountains and not have anyone else up here with you. I feel like probably a lot of people summit this peak, but I guess not so many get up here at sunrise because you have to get up pretty early for it. But yeah, amazing views. Really, really cold though. Alright, so that was an awesome summit. That was really cool. I'm on my way down now. I'm really cold because I spent probably too long up there. I was up there for I think almost an hour, which, yeah, I don't know, kind of cold. I mean, I'm fine. My core body temperature's fine. It's mostly my hands that are cold. My hands are so cold that I had to warm them up for a while before I could actually use this camera. But yeah, my friends Pale Ale and Sprouts, they didn't show up yet. I was trying to see if I could wait for them to come up, but yeah, I don't know. They're probably going to get up there within the next half hour, but it's just too cold for me to stay up there, so I'll meet them further down. I thought about looking at the maps to figure out what some of these peaks are, but yeah, my hands are just so cold by the time I wanted to do that. But there is one peak that I can point out, which I'm pretty sure I know. So I'm pretty sure that mountain over there, that this one, I'm pretty sure that that is Massive, Mount Massive. I could be wrong, but it looks like the right direction for Mount Massive. And I could be wrong, but I think that Mount Massive is the second highest peak in the Rockies. So yeah, I think Elbert is the highest and then Mount Massive is the second highest. I've also clearly become really well conditioned to the altitude, you know. I was moving crazy fast uphill most of the way. I mean, I could actually notice a difference in my pace as I was getting close to the top. I couldn't maintain that fast pace, but I was still moving probably relatively fast compared to you know, people coming here who haven't really adjusted to the altitude and haven't been hiking in Colorado for a while. Because I passed a group of people, well, around when the sun was rising, which was only like 15 minutes before I reached the peak, but they still haven't reached the peak. I actually was like, I could see them. I was looking down, and yeah, they were just slowly walking up and taking breaks and stuff. I mean, you get really nice views the whole way up, so you can always just stop and look at the views. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't been hiking in Colorado for, I don't know how many days it's been, like 20 days or something, 3 weeks maybe, it's really made a big difference. Like I just couldn't believe how quickly I was going up this peak this morning. I mean, I think it was also the excitement of wanting to get up here, and also it was cold, so moving fast kept me warm. But yeah, I'm definitely capable of going fairly quickly up these peaks now. And also the other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm still wearing the same shoes that I started this trail in. So I'm wearing the Vivo Barefoot shoes, which I started at the Mexico border. So I've actually walked from Mexico to the highest peak in the Rockies in the same pair of shoes. There was a couple days ago I put on my new shoes, which I'm carrying on my back right now. I put my new shoes on for like a few miles just because, or maybe like 6 miles, just because these shoes were wet and I figured I had some dry shoes, so I switched them out. But anyway, I've pretty much walked the entire way from Mexico to the highest peak in the Rockies in the same pair of shoes, which is, I think, more than 1,000 miles. On the official mileage, it's like 1,150 or something. But the official mileage and the miles that I've done has been slightly different because of taking alternates and rerouting on roads in New Mexico. But yeah, pretty impressive. The shoes have definitely done 1,000 miles now. So I think when I get to Leadville, I'm gonna fully switch over to my new pair of shoes. So somewhere down there, I don't know how well you can see it, is Leadville, the town of Leadville. Anyway, to go up this mountain was a side trail off of the CDT, but I'm going to rejoin the CDT, and then I think the trail basically goes along here. So this is Mount Massive right there. There's another side trail to summit Mount Massive, but the CDT basically just goes through the forest around here, and then somewhere up there crosses a road where you can hitchhike into Leadville. But I think it's basically just forest until you get there. I don't think there's any like grand views. I mean, maybe there's some small views, but you're not going to any crazy high elevations. But I'm actually thinking of just, when I get down here, basically just walking a road into Leadville, which is a bit of a strange choice, but it just means that I can actually get to Leadville today, and you know, at a good time, just early afternoon, and get stuff done. Alright, so now that I'm on my way down, I figured I'd just give some advice to people who are planning to summit Elbert. I know that some people that watch these videos are maybe planning to do the CDT or the Colorado Trail, or even, you know, you're just planning to visit Colorado and maybe you're going to summit Elbert. So let me just give a little bit of advice. My main piece of advice would be to actually just do it the way that I did it, which is getting up there at sunrise. And the main reason for that, you know, obviously the sunrise views are really, really cool, but actually the main reason is because there's a lot of people now. I've actually had to go off the side of the trail a bit to film this, because as I'm going down, I've only gone down about 2 miles now, just reached the tree line. And yeah, there's loads of people going up the trail, which makes sense. You know, most people, you know, come from home, or they're like staying in Leadville or something, get up early, they drive to the trailhead, and then they start hiking up. So even if they get up at 5 a.m., there's no way they'll be anywhere near sunrise at the peak. So anyway, getting up there when there's all these people, I'm sure for most of these people, they get up there and there are dozens of people on the peak. The peak would be pretty crowded, and you'd be kind of like looking between people to look at the views and stuff. Maybe, I mean, that's what I would guess. It's not like a massive peak, so obviously it's all, friendly people and all that, so it's fine. It's just, in my personal opinion, I think it's way cooler to reach the peak and be up there alone, or if there is someone, it's just like, one or two people who are also like in a kind of similar like mindset of, getting up super early and reaching the peak and, having a bit of solitude. So I don't know, it's just a different thing. So I definitely recommend that. And so in order to do that, you would either have to basically be up in the middle of the night, or you do what I did and you hike up a bit and then camp. So where I was camping was, I think, at around 11,500 feet, like kind of getting close to 12,000 feet. And, I'm hiking the CDT, so I just reached the first trail that goes up Elbert, and that's called the South Summit Trail. But now that I'm going down the North Summit Trail. They're both pretty similar, like basically around 2, maybe a bit more than 2 miles before the summit is where the tree line ends, and you can find camping around there. I can see some opportunities to camp around here, and I just reached the tree line on the North Summit Trail. But on the South Summit Trail was really good camping. Basically, as it's mostly like you can't find anything because it's kind of steep, and then it sort of levels out just very briefly before you leave the tree line, and so there's good camping all around there and sheltered in the trees. So if you camp there, it's going to be maybe, I think it took me like an hour and a half to reach the peak from where I camped. So maybe allow for 2 hours. I don't know. It depends how fast you go. But yeah, anyway, I think that's a really good way of doing it. And you could do it on either side, I think. Oh yeah, and also, although it's called the South Summit Trail, the North Summit Trail, they're both basically on the east side of the mountain, essentially, like kind of facing towards Leadville. So if you're going up at sunrise, you don't really have to worry too much about missing the sunrise, because if you don't make it to the peak before sunrise, I got to the peak maybe like 10 or 15 minutes after the sun had actually come up. But you can still fully see the sun rising because you're going up the east side, so you can just look back. So that's also, you don't have to stress about trying to get there before sunrise. And then obviously it's going to be colder if you get up there early, like I did. But it's not really that bad. It was only a little bit below freezing. It's just the wind makes it a bit worse. But, I stayed up there for almost an hour, and I don't have a lot of layers. So if you brought more layers, you could stay up there for a while. And then one of the main benefits of going in the morning in general, so even if you don't go at sunrise, you should go in the morning, because in Colorado you often get thunderstorms in the afternoon. Sometimes they can start as early as like 10 or 11 a.m. I've seen, but it seems like most days if there are thunderstorms, it's like later in the afternoon. So obviously you don't want to be going up there in a thunderstorm, so the morning is best for that. Oh, and also I just wanted to say it's like a really, really easy trail. It really is just a walk up. As I'm coming down now, I've seen like 4 or 5 people with dogs going up. I've seen some old people. Really, it's just a walk, it's just a walk in the park. It's no mountaineering or climbing or anything like that. But yeah, basically it's a really well-graded trail. It's not that steep. The main issue really is just altitude. So obviously if you're not used to the altitude, well, even if you're used to the altitude, you're still going to be really out of breath. So you should expect yourself to move a lot slower than you normally would. But you can still easily make it up. There's no scrambling. You never have to use your hands. Honestly, you could do it in flip-flops. I'm not recommending doing it in flip-flops, just to clarify, but it could definitely be done. It's definitely, I think it's known as a gentle giant. So yeah, anyway, it's an easy climb. Obviously you'll still find it hard. I still found it tough. Like, you have to gain a lot of elevation to get up there. But yeah, it's not too steep, and there's nothing technical about it. There's no, navigational issues or mountaineering or climbing. You just walk up. So pretty much anyone can do it. Definitely recommend doing it. I definitely don't think you have anything to fear in doing it. So yeah. anyway, that's my recommendations. But I know some people watch these videos and like are looking for kind of advice, or looking for like, you know, seeing what things are like on the trail, because they're maybe planning to do maybe a section of what I'm doing, or doing what I'm doing, like the CDT. And I just wanted to mention, I mentioned before that I am on Instagram, so I'll leave a link again in the description box for Instagram. But if you have questions, you can reach out to me, because I don't give a lot of specific stuff in these videos in terms of like, you know, oh, here's a good place to camp, or here's a good water source. I could do that, but it gets a bit repetitive, and it just like goes on and on. Sometimes there's just like constantly good places to camp and water sources. And anyway, if you want any advice about anything on the CDT or anywhere that I've gone, feel free to either, you know, you can leave a comment obviously, but you can also reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll pretty much guaranteed I will respond. It's not like I get a ton of messages. So the last time that I mentioned my Instagram on here, I ended up having like 3 or 4 people message me just asking for advice or asking some questions about the CDT, and I responded to all those people. So yeah, anyway, just feel free to reach out if you want any specific information. It is a very well maintained trail, as you might imagine. Lots of people hike this trail, and so they put a lot of effort into trail maintenance here.